Hey, welcome to Pat's Soundbytes IGTV. Keeping new music alive is what I do on the radio and now on video. Conducting live chats with the artists and learning the stories behind their latest release and also playing their new video. A very special thank you to my friend Hadley at Chipster PR and Consulting for scheduling and coordinating today's guest. Chipster PR and Consulting Incorporated is a highly sought-after, internationally renowned publicity, marketing, and consulting firm in the music industry. For more information, you can email Hadley or Chip at info@chipsterpr.com or phone 484-932-8951. Special thanks today to my sponsor, Go-Go Tuners, for all guitar players looking for a focus on ease of use, readability, durability, and accuracy. Look no further. The Go-Go Tuner is the choice of many touring professionals and a favorite of casual players. Go-Go's signature green you're in and red you're out screen makes tuning quick and easy. For more information, go to the website at gogotuners.com. Special thanks to WBXO Classic Rock Radio Redefined, allowing me to keep new music alive on the radio airways on the Pat Show every Sunday from 5 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. Only on WBXO Classic Rock Redefined. And a big thank you to Mr. Evan Balzer for allowing me to use his amazing instrumental that you're hearing right now. It's called Trails. To find out more incredible music by Evan, go to his website at evanbalzer.com. And today's guest is singer-songwriter rock legend Rik Emmett. Round Hill Records recently reissued 11 of Rik's solo recordings into the digital format. We're going to talk to Rik about that move. We're going to talk about his career, some songwriting, Triumph documentary, and a whole lot more right here on Pat Soundbytes IGTV. Hey, welcome to Pat Soundbytes IGTV, keeping new music alive on the radio and on video. And such an honor to have this singer-songwriter and rock legend today, Mr. Rik Emmett. How are you, sir?
Jazz hands. I'm great. Thank you, Pat. It's lovely to Zoom you today.
Oh, everybody is Zooming. I don't even know where this even came from, but I guess it's the new thing. Everybody, we got to Zoom. I said, okay, I'll Zoom. Whatever you need me to do. You look great, sir. How are you handling this whole COVID-19, this lockdown? Besides, I'm sure you're writing, you're a busy guy anyway, but how's the family? How are you making out, sir?
Everybody's good. I mean, I still have my 92-year-old dad is still kicking around, and he's in a home, and he's had some issues just because he's, he's confused by a lot of what's going on. Can't understand why everybody's wearing scarves all the time. They're face masks, Dad. There's a thing going. It's all over the world. He's going, oh, and then 10 minutes later, you go, it's all over the world. So that's really the only drawback, is that it was hard to get in to see him. And, we can't even actually go into the place to visit him. We have to go and get him and take him out. But we take him for lunch and stuff. But other than that, it's okay. When they sort of opened it back up, I live in Burlington, which is a little west of Toronto. And in our neighborhood, they sort of opened it up to stage 3. So my kids could come and go swimming in the pool and with my grandkids. And so that's been good, and as you say, I've been using I'm a creative guy, so I've been writing, and I finished a book of poetry and gave that to a publisher. Looks like I'm going to get a book deal. I've got a whole bunch of songs for download off my own site because I, got finished a stockpile, and we did that. And then along comes Round Hill, and they want to put out all the old back catalog stuff. So it's like the stuff that I did with Dave Dunlop and the Airtime album and all the records I made back in the mid-90s and stuff. They put it all back out. So now I'm doing interviews every day. So it feels like I retired and I'm working harder than I ever did.
I'm sure you have. Oh, that sounds well crazy. Round Hill Records releases 11 of your solo recordings, and I guess the key word here is digital format. And as you mentioned, they, you had them out. I mean, they were out a long time ago. So digital to me is this whole digital streaming, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora. Were they? And I'm sure you've been asked a million times. Were they remastered? And with vinyl on the comeback, could we maybe see vinyl? And I guess maybe it depends on how this even goes through Round Hill. Am I on the right
Yeah,
track for the most part?
yes, exactly. Yeah, I think this is like the digital release and the streaming and everything. It's kind of like a litmus test, And I mean, if it goes well, they might want to, they might want to extend it into vinyl and compact discs. The other thing is that there were other stuff. Like, I mean, I had this new album, like, but that was when the deal was going down. I didn't really have it ready yet. But now that it is, maybe they want that too. And then there were records that I did that were like, for example, Dave Dunlop and I did a thing where we did all cover songs. It was called Recovery Room 9. And because there wasn't publishing available on that, that wasn't part of the original deal with Roundhill. But they might still go, no, we want those masters. Yeah, but that might be next year. Who knows how this relationship will go. Right now, I'm just delighted that somebody's, had an interest in my murky past and all the quirky things that I did in that murky past. Yeah. So, yeah, it's fun. It's great, and it's actually, psychologically, it's been a nice thing to sort of, as I'm settling into my 67th year, I kind of go, this is all right, like it makes it so that I feel that. It wasn't just sort of self-indulgence that, there's other people that are interested in it, which that's a nice thing. It's like a validation,
Absolutely. And it's probably refreshing to know that people are interested in it. And, looking back, I think in the States, besides being a big fan of yours and folks that follow you, I don't know if the fans in the States really understood some of your solo stuff. So this is a real boost rocket going, wait a minute, especially now we're all in this lockdown. So I'm a new music guy. So I think it's great. And it's a great opportunity for the fans of not only yourself and Triumph, but to really get to understand. I mean, Saved by Love, so many weddings that was involved with. Big Lie. I mean, the Absolutely album. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff that you have tapped into. So I think I think it's congratulations to Round Hill for thinking of you and for you to saying, hey, go for it. Let's see what happens. I think it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. The first 3 records that I made after I left Triumph, so Absolutely, Ipso Facto, and Spiral Notebook, they're not part of this.
Okay.
And again, if this goes to chapter 2 or chapter 3, then they might start digging around and looking to secure the rights for those, because there's a lot of gray nebula stuff about those records. The label that I did them for is actually, gone bankrupt, doesn't exist any longer. So who actually owns those masters in Canada? I did retain ownership of them outside of Canada. So who knows? But yeah, you're going back even further, right? You're going back to like 89 and 90. Like Round Hill only went back to about 96.
Okay.
Things that I've done since then. So.
No, I think it's all good anyway, and I'm happy for them. Rik, your creativity, I mean, is obviously extremely important to you. You're always writing. You mentioned a manuscript of poetry, reinvention, which is great. You've done the Guitar Magazine columns. You've been an educator in songwriting at Humboldt College. I think you retired from that. It's important to you just to, be out there and just self-satisfaction to keep doing what you want to do. I mean, you did the Triumph thing, and we talked about that before. And it's time to spread your own wings and maybe go back to where it all started as Rik Emmett, as the singer and songwriter, and being able to do what you want to do without having to worry about a band and everybody else's opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of it. I think also, when you're in a band like Triumph, which was, arena rock, big show, and you make record deals, and then there's sort of big expectations. It's like a very large sized kind of, well, we've got to see, mass sales when this hits the marketplace. But there's things that, you just mentioned the poetry book. Like a couple of the records that I made, they were sort of jazzy in nature, the CDs and stuff. Now, I taught music business at the college level. I understand that when you make a jazz record, you just took the marketplace and shrunk it down to 1%.
Like Miles Davis
does not sell a lot of records. It just doesn't. And the records that it does sell, it's because people are going out and buying an old Miles Davis kind of blue album, to put on their shelf to make it look like they're really hip. I get it, and nevertheless, the muse pulls me. The whole thing about music for me and just creativity is that I'm going to go where the call pulls me, like the avocation of it. So jazz and writing poetry, yeah, there's not a big market for it, but in terms of self-expression, in terms of of making artistic statements, I just felt there was like an integrity to it, And I think in the long run, there's also a sort of a credibility thing that happens where, I've got to jam with George Benson on stage in Buffalo and jammed with Steve Morse, Steve Vai and I did a day at the GIT, years and years ago. Like the fact that you're writing for guitar magazines, the fact that you're sort of showing this range, I think maybe in the end people go, well, maybe he didn't sell 7 times platinum, but the guy's got some integrity and some credibility, and so we'll cut him some slack and we'll let him play with the big boys.
All good. I interviewed, well, I don't want to say interviewed. I talked to a musician last night. He's a really good friend of mine. And I said, I'm talking with Rik tomorrow. And he goes, oh my God, my first concert, front row, loved the band. But he goes, I will tell you, Rik Emmett is my favorite guitarist. And I go, okay, what am I missing? And he goes, rock, jazz, fusion, folk, Chet Atkins picking. He says, there's nothing that man can't do. And I have followed him from the beginning, and I've learned so much from Rik. So I said, I will share that with him. I'm sure he'd be very happy to hear that. So,
I had the pleasure of meeting Chet live, when I was signed to RCA Records and we were going through Nashville. And, the funny, Chet was nobody's fool, right? The building that RCA Records was in Nashville, Chet Atkins was the landlord. Like he owned the building, Chet once said very famously, the trick about guitar playing is to try and make the hard stuff look easy, and then you can, showbiz, make the easy stuff look hard. I don't think I've ever, to me, Chet Atkins was a true master of the guitar, and I dabble in it, and I think I get points sometimes because I'm this guy that writes songs, and to me, that's the number one thing, is the writing of the songs. Obviously, play guitar, but sing. When I started my life as a musician, 7 years old, I was singing in the church choir, a boy soprano. So singing was always the thing where I was able to make this physical connection to music. So that whole thing of the spirit of music, the intellectual value of it, and then this physical kind of connection that you make with it. It's helped me with rock. It's helped me with jazz. It's helped me with everything. And I think, even though I'm not necessarily a master, and it's lovely of your friend to say, oh, he can play anything. That's not exactly true. I can't play anything. I can play what I write for myself and work out, I get it under my hands and I get it. But, I'll give you this little story just so that, it gives you an indication of things. When I was recording Midsummer Daydream for the Thunder 7 record Triumph, I was working with an engineer, 2 engineers actually, Ed Stone and Noel Golden, and they had both worked in studios. And one guy had, I think it was Ed, he got the gig where Glenn Gould had pianos in a hotel, in a giant hotel room, and he would record things and then edit them like crazy. And he would quarter-inch tape. He would have strips of tape numbered like, oh, take 236, 245, and then he would edit them together, right? So
Wow.
when I was doing Midsummer Daydream, I could play maybe about 4 or 5 bars and then I'd make a mistake. And then I'd play another 5 or 6 bars and then I'd have another clam. And so we'd have to edit it and stick it together. But once it was together on tape, then I could listen to it back and I could really learn it. I could finally sort of memorize it so that I could play it. So when we were going to go out on tour, I would be able to play it. But when I wrote it and when I recorded it, I couldn't really play it.
You mentioned songwriting, Rik, and I know you have taught it in college and songwriting sessions. What's the biggest? What would you say to the kids or people that want to get into it? Hey, believe in yourself, work at it like you want to work at it, that you got to do it to develop and make sure that it's there, that, you got to, I say you got to believe in yourself. Hard work is always got to be there. What am I missing? What are the key ingredients of a skill set for somebody to want to be hopefully become a successful songwriter?
Yeah, well, I'll get to that in a second. But the famous saying, Steve Swallow, a bass player, once said, "If you want to be in the music business, don't do it because it's horrible, it's terrible, it's awful. But if you have to be in it, then go ahead because then it's great." Because that, which is sort of alluding back to that thing of me saying, there's these muses, these voices that they talk to me and they lead me, and I'm open to that, and art is great for that. Now, and if you get into this business because you're looking for like a big paycheck, a commercial success, then I think you're off on the wrong foot. Because as you mentioned, persistence is really important. But there's a whole other thing here, and that is that whenever I would do something, like let's say, I'm playing in a garage band, and I'm playing some songs and stuff, and then somebody says, "Hey, Rik, geez, you seem pretty good. There's an audition on Friday for this other guy's band. Do you want to come and be part of this audition and see how it goes?" And I go, "Yeah, okay, sure, I think I'll do it." So then that's the whole thing of lady luck, opportunity is knocking on the door, and you got to answer the door. That's a big part of it. So you take this chance. And then when you go and play the audition and somebody goes, "Yeah, you're in, you're great." Now the marketplace has sort of acknowledged you. You've moved up a level because something good's happened. And, there's some folks that I would see at the college level and you go, "Yeah, I don't think, no matter how many times you bang your head against that wall, I don't think it's going to happen for you." I mean, I feel for you, and spiritually, I love your energy and stuff. But honestly, you're not listening to see if the marketplace is acknowledging what you're doing. That's part of it. That slowly by rung by rung, you're going to climb this ladder. And there's an old saying. Segovia once told this story that the student was saying, I want to make this. I want to become great. And Segovia, in his very thick Spanish, she's very thick, sort of talk like this in English, And he says to the guy, the angels have wings, but when they climb the stairway to heaven, they have to go one step at a time. So he's sort of saying there's a discipline to this. You could have wings and you could fly, but if you take the shortcut, maybe that's not going to be as good as if you climb the ladder rung by rung. So and I think there are some people, they get involved in this business and they're looking for too much too fast, or they think of themselves as something amazing and something great, and these are the folks that burn out and they get into drugs and they make bad choices, because part of this too is it's a marathon. Like I wanted it to last my whole life, so I wanted to be humble and modest. So this brings me to my last bit of advice, which is, I'm not very religious, and I'm certainly, I would say I'm probably an agnostic, but sang in church choirs and, back in the day, and was raised in a very religious kind of family. My mom was very religious. When you're listening to music, when you're making music, you're kind of staring into the face of God. That's as close as, to me, as you're ever going to get, that there's this infinite kind of depth, spiritual kind of depth to what it is that you're doing. And, in our own humble little modest ways, we're pecking away at that, infinite thing. If you can't be humble in the face of the infinite, what kind of a moron are you? Like, how stupid can you get? Like, this is an incredible, infinite, the idea of grace is coming to touch you. Like, how can you not sort of be humble about this? So, I mean, I've seen my share of rock stars that you kind of go, yeah, you're an idiot. Like, I'm sorry, but you're not really going to inspire me very much on an artistic musical level. But I've also seen some people where I go, oh man, I'm not even in that league. So it keeps you humble.
Well, great advice, excellent advice. How's our man Dave Dunlop doing, by the way?
He's great. He's Dave lost his first wife tragically. She got sick and died within a week. It was a horrible kind of a thing. And he was lost for about a year and a half. And then he met another woman. And I told him, Dave, you're a good looking young fella. You're going to meet somebody. And he did. And he's married now. And he got 2 teenage kids in the bargain. So,
wow.
And he didn't have kids in his first marriage. So it's like somebody took him and threw him in the deep end of the pool with no water wings, So he's doing great. He's actually really digging it, and the kids are amazing, and his wife she's amazing. So yeah, he's a happy camper. He's doing all right.
Good for him, man. He's such a talent. You brought him on. You went on tour with him a couple of times, and I saw you at Daryl's, and I'm like, who is this guy? And man, he's very good, awesome musician. I know I don't want to. I got a few minutes left here, Rick. Triumph documentary supposed to come out in the fall. Banger film, probably one of the best in the business. Is that still moving forward somehow? They had it out. They had to lay it on the line. I'm not sure if they're staying with that title.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll stay with it or not. I've seen the second rough cut, and it looked really good to me. They've got a nice story arc, and there's some things about a documentary like a "This Is Your Life" sort of thing where it's kind of surreal, and you're going, oh, geez, I don't know. But I'm the kind of guy that I never really spent a lot of time in my career, celebrating my past and looking back over my shoulder and going, yes, aren't I fantastic? Wasn't that a fantastic record I made? Like, I'm always moving ahead, and I don't, I'm not really a retrospective kind of guy. So there's something surreal about all of this Walk of Fame and documentaries about the best. But one of the things that Banger did, which was really cool, was they flew in fans from all over the world, and we did a surprise little concert, 3 songs, where they were watching clips from the documentary, and then they dropped the scrim, and there we were on stage. So they just went ape bananas. It was like unreal. And it was kind of fun for us because we hadn't played since we'd done Rocklahoma in Sweden in 2007 or 2008. So, I mean, been a long time. So we did that last year. So, and they had, multi-cameras capturing the moment. So that was unbelievable. It was great. And I've seen the footage of that, and it's something. So I'm looking forward to it. The COVID thing has sort of thrown a wrench into everybody's works, but I think they'll probably go right to Netflix or something with that. I'm not sure.
Looking forward to it. I'm friends with Kathy, and Kathy documented it on social media, and I kind of hinted about maybe you guys might be there. But it was cool to see. I think there was somebody from Brazil. Like, they were going crazy. I mean, they flew into Toronto to be there for this.
Brazil, Sweden. Lots of the people from the States, of course, Hawaii even. So there might have been some people from Japan. It was extraordinary. Like, there's certain things that happen in your life and you go, okay, this doesn't happen in a lot of people's lives. This kind of a thing it's really an extraordinary thing. So I'm grateful for those experiences for sure.
What's left on the bucket list, Rik? I mean, there isn't much you haven't touched upon in your wonderful career. Is there something that you go, I got to get to this? I got to do a duet. I got to write something. Is there something left? Is there
Well,
anything
the songs that are on my website right now, not the Roundhill stuff, but my own, is called Folk Songs for the Farewell Bonfire. And I was thinking this might be the last chunk of recording I do, because it was just me and my guitar, and it's solo stuff, and it's available for download. So that was a kind of a bucket list thing. But then you finish, and then you go, well, still apparently I'm still around, Maybe I'll do another one. And I don't stop writing. Like there's about 3 or 4 songs in my notebook, and I'm going, well, I could do another one of those. So more of the same might be my bucket list thing. Like I'm just going to keep doing more of the same. I mentioned the poetry book. That was kind of a bucket list thing. And when you do something like, you think, oh, they're going to, 66-year-old guy writing a book of poetry. Publishers are going to go, what a dilettante. This rock star thinks he can write poetry. But when publishers were getting back to me, they were going, no, okay, this crap's pretty good. Like, you seem to really have and obviously you've read a lot of poetry, and I have, and you spent a lot of time writing it, and I did, so they're going, no, this is good. We want to put this out. So that's a lovely validation kind of thing. And of course they go, Rik, have you been thinking about a memoir or an autobiography? And then I go, yeah, I could do that. And I go, okay. So it was never really on my bucket list, but I guess now it is that, if I make this publishing deal, memoir, autobiography is going to be on the list, So, I'll tell you this, Pat, honestly, my bucket list has very few things. It has stuff like, make sure you play with the grandkids at some point this week. What's for dinner? My goals are kind of humble and short term. The bigger stuff, I kind of go, if I just keep writing every day, I think it's going to take care of itself. So I don't bucket list giant projects. As I said, poetry books, jazz, guitar pieces, like, sometimes they're just relatively modest things, and yeah.
No, when you announce, hey, I'm getting done with touring, and obviously as a fan, we're going, no, but I'm going, the man's done it for 50-something years. Can he see his wife? Can he see his kids? Can he hang out with his grandchildren? So I certainly get that. Look, we always play it on the line. We always got your music. The music will live on. Before I let you go, my killer question, out of all your catalog of music, what one song best describes Rik Emmett today?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my stock answer to the stock question is always the next song is the one that I worry about. But if I'm picking favorites, I've had a few special moments of songs, like back on the Just a Game album, Suitcase Blues it came to me through a Joe Pass guitar study. And, I've had some lovely moments with that tune in my life. So there's something about that tune that I love. But, I did an album for Mascot in Europe. It was called Res 9. And there's a tune on there where I did a reunion with the Triumph guys. It was called Grand Parade. And that song's kind of got us, I feel like I got something right when I wrote that lyric and came up with the idea for that song. But I could pick a half a dozen. And, you're asking me a question that's like the same kind of thing when people go, so which of your kids do you love the most? I go, no,
Right.
I love them all for different reasons. And I have, pains in my ass from some of them for some reasons, and so there's some songs that, they stick with you, but you're kind of going, yeah, maybe it's because it's like the pee under the mattress kind of thing with that tune, I want to write a new one so I see if I can fix that problem, So I don't know. I'm going to pick Suitcase just because you're making me pick one, but damn you for that.
Well, no, I remember the last time we talked was actually when you put out the Res 9, and I know it was really important. I want to say your brother was very ill, and he said, Rik, go bury the hatchet with the guys, and you were so excited that Mike and Gil played on your track, and you said, I'm good. it's all good. The rest is all downhill now. So I was really excited for you. So Rik Emmett, go to rickemmett.com. Check out hopefully his manifest of poetry. Check out folk songs for the Farewell Bonfire. The best of success with Round Hill Records. We're going to promote the crap out of it as much as we can. I hope you enjoyed the chat as much as I have, sir.
Oh, I did. It was great. Thank you, Pat.
Great to see you. Stay safe and well. And if there's anything we could help promote, by all means, don't hesitate to give a shout. We love you here in New York, and we're going to keep rocking Rik Emmett and Triumph as much as we can.
Thanks, Pat. Take care.
Stay safe and well. Thanks, Rick.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now.